there's a lot of great stories throughout the different groups, which should, in theory, make it competitive.
And because there's a second and a third place for 8 of the 12 teams go through, I think the games will become more interesting as well. For example, you could get Saudi Arabia versus Verdi could be a massive game because they go, right, if we win this, we can...
One of us can get through to the next one, yeah.
I think it keeps that level of competition throughout. But I do just think when you look at the big teams, all of them have had favourable draws except for France.
I really like Group C as well, with Brazil, Morocco,
Yes.
Haiti and Scotland.
Yeah.
What a fun group that's going to be.
Fan base power, that's going to be absolutely sensational. I've got some Scottish friends, and wherever they go, there's a party. Scottish fans are just happy to be at the World Cup. I wouldn't say that there's any real expectations on the nation to do anything but just to compete. All they want to see is their Scottish players compete, and the fans will be so great to have in this nation, and it'll be such a great atmosphere. Scotland versus Brazil again. Do you know how fun that is going to be?
If you look at it from a Brazilian perspective, though, your first game out of the gates is against Morocco. And if you don't win that game, which is possible, by the way, it's crazy to think that Brazil can lose their first game at a World Cup. Obviously, you should be able to progress past Haiti and then Scotland, in theory, right, because you're Brazil. But losing a first game at a World Cup puts you in a precarious situation. It doesn't matter what. The fact that third-place teams go through, obviously, you'd expect Brazil to make it, but it can get shaky from the very beginning for the record-time champions.
But you say that, but didn't Argentina lose their first game against Saudi Arabia?
Look how much of a precarious situation it put them in for that second game against Mexico. Tension through the roof.
Yep. I mean, if you're going to win it, you're going to go for it. And I think right now, when I look at this Brazil side, they are, for me, still the biggest dark horse of this team because of the manager, because of Ancelotti. And he's had a way historically with Brazilian players, getting the best out of it. And now we talk about Esteval as being the face of the Brazilian national team. There's been no talent like him since Neymar. Hopefully he can stay fit all the way. Like I said, we always say these conversations are great, but there's still a long way till the World Cup starts, and anything can happen with these players, and you do want the stars to be there. But I look at that Brazil side as a definite.
Do you say Vini Jr. is still the face of Brazil, or you think it's Esteval now?
I think it's Esteval now, and that's no disrespect to Vinicius Jr. I think he can play a big part. But when a young player is stepping up and taking penalties ahead of some of these senior players there, that's their...
I can still see a scenario where he doesn't start, though. Esteval. In that first game against Morocco, everyone being fit, I can see a scenario where he doesn't start, where it's Rafinha and it's Vinicius Jr. and you bring him in.
Yeah, you want experience to get the job done, because it's so important to win your first game in tournament football, and that does play a part, because that mental pressure does build. You know, go back to under-21s in the European Championship. When we get there, it's great to qualify, but when you get there, you realise this is the serious nitty-gritty, and then all the players know you have to win that first game. Like the managers and coaches let you know the first game is so important for momentum.
So here is a look at the path for the Stars and Stripes. The US will take on Australia, Paraguay, and then the UEFA winner of Path C. Let's welcome in Charlie Davies from Washington, D.C. from the draw. Chuck, what do you think of this?
This is, of course, no disrespect to the other nations within the U.S.'s group, but this is a dream scenario. Are we kidding? When I saw Australia, I said, okay, it's meant to be. It is meant to be. Paraguay, of course, they're a strong South American opponent, but beatable. We should win this group. So I'd say from a U.S. standpoint, it's a pretty good draw.
Charlie, before the show got on, we spoke about how, I thought maybe having too easy a group like this, where the expectation rises now, could actually play a problem, in the sense that now you don't only just have to win, you have to perform and be on a level. Do you think this is going to be too easy now?
No, there's no easy group in a World Cup. There's no easy
no
path.
Disrespect, it's easy.
Yeah, but we're talking about a World Cup. Every game's going to be at a high level. Every game's going to meet the intensity. You're not going to come in going, oh, this is going to be too easy for us. You still have to take care of business. Now, that being said, you're not playing a Spain or a France or an England, or a Morocco or a Colombia, which they could have played, or Norway. So in that respect, you're saying, hey, there's no better pathway to get to where we want to go. It's right in front of us. Now you're telling me we beat a third-place team if you finish top of the group, which that should be the expectation. Then you beat that. Then you're talking about potentially playing a Belgium to get into a quarterfinal. that's very doable. Of course, Belgium is a strong team, but against the teams that you possibly could get in pot one, yeah, give me Belgium. And so then you're talking about, hey, it's right there in front of you to do something that's never been done before, and you're not having to take on the likes of a Spain or an Argentina, and France, and in England. So I think from that standpoint, again, it is a dream scenario.
The World Cup for the U.S., Chuck, is on the West Coast. Let me give you the path to the final for the United States as you believe. Ready? LA, Seattle, LA group stage. If the U.S. finishes first in their group, their first game out of the gates in the knockout stage is in the San Francisco Bay Area. That's the round of 32. They win that game. They next go to Seattle to play round of 16. If they win that round of 16 game, then they play in LA once again. Then the semifinal would be in Dallas and the final in New York, New Jersey.
I'll say, so therefore, in order for me to see the U.S. on the East Coast, they got to get to the final at MetLife. Okay, for me, again, just being here, taking it all in, and having hopes that the U.S. could get a favorable draw, phenomenal. Now, you got to take it match by match. We're talking about knockout rounds. I don't think anyone doubts the U.S. is going to get to the knockout rounds with this group. Of course, there's no handouts, there's no freebies. But given this scenario, given that they've hired Mauricio Pochettino and they spent all this money, given that you have players who are playing considerable minutes, making impact plays in Europe in Champions League, you would expect them to get to that match against Belgium at the very minimum, right? Now, we're talking about the expectations placed on this team and Mauricio Pochettino. You hire a Mauricio Pochettino to beat a Belgium with this group of players. So that's where I'm at right now.
I love it, Chuck. Stay with us. We'll be back with you shortly. Let's welcome in Tony Miola and see... Oh, you're going to stay with us, Chuck. Let's welcome in Tony and see what Tony thinks. Tony, are you as happy as Charlie? You played in 3 World Cups for the U.S. men's national team. Are you on cloud 9 too with the straw?
Tony, I don't believe we can hear you, mate.
Tony's on mute. That's a fine for Tony.
Yeah, you know what? Because Tony always mutes himself. He always mutes himself.
I don't control anything here, Chaz. I'm just sitting in my house, just putting a tie on and getting ready to see this great World Cup draw. But this for me is the start of the World Cup, right? This is when you can really kind of zone in. I know teams got to go through qualifying. We didn't have to do that, right? And we've been sort of projecting, we're going to, hopefully we play this team. Hopefully we play that team. Or we don't play this team. Look, we know now. Now you can focus. Of course, we got to wait for that last bit of qualifying to happen to get that third team in. But as far as being excited about this draw, there's no doubt about it. And Charlie said it. You don't want to show disrespect to any team. But truth be told, most teams' World Cups, when you're not Spain and when you're not Argentina, are pretty much made at the draw, right? And I think Mauricio Pochettino, he's not going to tell you, but he's going to go back and go, okay, I think this is a very winnable group as it stands right now. But I will say this. A few months ago, the U.S. did play Turkey, and I know we're in a different position, so let's not discount those European teams like that just yet, right? Very talented sides. But as far as if you would have taken this draw before this whole thing happened to you, there's no doubt about it, you would have signed up for this.
Yeah, Tony, 100% on that regard. My question to Chuck earlier, which he kind of diverted to talk about everything else, was if now, as a US national team and now in media, we're all going to start to get excited for what this could look like, does that add more pressure on the players? Because now you're starting to not only have to win these games, you're going to have to look at it from a performance standpoint as well. Do you think that's a fair question or not?
Well, yeah, it's always a fair question, right, to ask what kind of pressure. Keep in mind, one of the host nations, right? The host nations are always expected to get to the next round. They're always expected to be competitive in the competition. And this particular team, Troy, quite honestly, over the last year, outside of the last 2 months, has not impressed under Mauricio Pochettino, but we are starting to see the light of day with what Mauricio Pochettino's wanted to do with this group, what he wanted to establish. I think I heard Charlie say a little bit earlier something to the effect that it was too easy for some guys, right? It was they thought their positions were set, and now you've got guys that are pushing guys, and we all know, right? Every one of us has been around a dressing room. It's easy when there's no one behind you pushing you, right? But now you're getting ready for a World Cup, and having been part of this 3 times with the U.S. team, and you know the intensity that you have to bring. See, when I played in 90 and 94, and I hate, these guys will tell you, I hate talking about my career. Like, we needed this. We needed the national team. We needed to be successful at the World Cup. Truth be told, if Christian Pulisic and this group doesn't get it done at the World Cup, they go back to their club team and everything is fine. Yeah, it'll hurt them a little bit, but it doesn't change their life. For us, it changed our lives. Right. And I think I'm hoping that these guys will understand the magnitude of what it's going to look like 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road in U.S. soccer through this World Cup, because they have an opportunity to do something in America that nobody has ever done. And I know someone's going to ask me, OK, what's a success at the World Cup? I said this in 2002 after the World Cup. I said, now some teams got to get to the semifinal of the World Cup. And this team, in the manner that they're going right now, they're talented enough to do it. And of course, we know the World Cup, it's 1 month where everybody's got to come together and things have to go your way. And you got to get a break here or there if you're the U.S. We all understand that. But they're talented enough to do it. Let's hope that in the end, we get as much out of this group as we possibly can.
Tony, the odds say that Turkey is going to be the 4th team in that group. How beneficial is it to the U.S. that these are 3 teams they played recently and played well against?
Well, the Turkey A team is, I forget the result. We took a little bit of a beating against that team, right? And that's why I said at the beginning, it's not something that we should take lightly. Like these European teams, the one thing we talked about, this expanded World Cup, 48 teams were going to have, there was going to be some rollovers. Concacaf teams don't really benefit from that, right? Because you know you're getting a European team, you know you're getting a South American team. You can't get one of the other 3 that are qualifying out of Concacaf. So there isn't a lot of breaks there. But again, when I look at this group, Paraguay finished 6th in qualifying, 39th ranked team in the world. I don't know how much that means, but of course, the 6th in the group means something, right? Australia, is it going to be easy? No, very organized team. We know that all the time, tough to break down. Actually, the type of team that the U.S. has struggled right against in the recent past. And then if we think it's Turkey, I think they will be the most talented team in this group should they qualify. They are the favorites. But hey, Romania, look, one of our opponents in 1994, we know how many good players they've produced over the years. So maybe we don't count them out. But we're going to get a European team that's not going to be easy.
Question for both of you guys. Again, optimism's high. I feel like I'm bringing the vibe down. I apologise. Is there an area of weakness that you guys are concerned about going in this with the US team at this moment in time?
Well, Troy, I think it's important that you bring balance to this show.
Thank you.
You can't be all pies in the sky and think that it's made for us to get to a semifinal and it's going to be easy peasy. But in saying that, this team, I believe in. I think Mauricio Pochettino is exactly what they needed to raise their level, because I think we probably would have seen more of the same of what we saw in 2022 if another current American coach was to take over this group. They needed somebody that didn't care where they played or who they were. Mauricio Pochettino, having coached Messi and Mbappe, can look at anybody, including Christian Pulisic, and say, I don't care who you are. It's what are you going to bring for me now, and what are you going to do for this team moving forward? So now getting the most out of everybody and putting the guys in the right places, I honestly believe that they can do it. They can move the needle and make this incredible run. This is a group that has, I think it's almost like they're going to be challenged, but not to the point where it can't be. They can't do the impossible. So I think from that standpoint, this is a group that can dream.
Yeah, Troy, to your question, look, none of this is going to be easy. Absolutely not. This is not going to be easy. But you ask for an expectation. If we think for a minute that this is the best U.S. team we've had. And I'm not a big golden generation guy. I hate the term. I don't use it because I still think you got to do something. If they get to the semifinal of the World Cup, this will be the golden generation. They haven't gotten there yet for me. But I look back in 2002, and I look what we did in that World Cup. And the expectation after that World Cup is that we were going to build from that World Cup. We were going to get better from that World Cup where we get to a quarterfinal. And quite honestly, if the soccer gods were fair, I mean, we took it to Germany for 90 minutes and lost 1-0 somehow in that game. Their goalkeeper stood on their head. We didn't get a break, and that's the way the World Cup goes. Maybe this time around we get the break that we're looking for, and we do get to a semifinal. But make no mistake about it, you're absolutely right. This is not going to be easy. But if you ask me for an expectation of this team, and especially after I see the draw today, I think they need to get to a semifinal.
So true. The U.S. men's national team have to be happy.
Troy, I was going to say, Troy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just in terms of weaknesses within the team, right? Is there a place that they can be strengthened or at least be a little bit more solidified? I look at the back line, so it's a back three.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that you have the flexibility with the wing backs and there's depth. When you have Timothy Weah who can play on both sides. You have Wesley McKinney who can play on both sides. Serginho Dest, Anthony Robinson, we're hoping he gets back and he's healthy, ready to go come May and June. But Max Arfson and Alex Freeman, there's a number of players that, as of late, because of Mauricio Pochettino and these players that need a World Cup to do well, to kind of excel and fulfill their potential, whereas maybe Serginho Dest, if he doesn't play in this World Cup, if he doesn't do well, it doesn't really do anything for him, like Tony said. But for Freeman and for an Arfson, this could launch their career into a new stratosphere. But ultimately, I think that back three, because Chris Richards is going to be the rock.
Yeah.
Is Tim Ream going to be the same Tim Ream 6 months from now? We know his lack of pace. He never really had pace to begin with, but it was all his IQ and his ball distribution. He's comfortable on the ball, but is he going to be ready to go come June? That's a big question. And then on the right side, is it Miles Robinson? Is it Alex Freeman? Is it Mark McKenzie? So I think the back line for me is probably the weakest part because you really don't have an idea of who the strongest three are together. And then the goalkeeper position. Is it still Matt Freese? Does Matt Turner come back into the picture if he's having standout performances for the New England Revolution? But after those two goalkeepers, I think there's a massive drop-off. So ultimately, I think if we're looking down the spine of the team, the backline and the goalkeeper position are probably the two weakest if you're looking at the team as a whole.
Yeah, still quite a few questions to be answered, as you guys said. But so far, so good. Everybody seems happy with the draw. Tony, Chuck, so good to see you. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, guys.
See you soon.
So here are the groups from the World Cup draw that we've just seen. In Group A, you've got the host nation, Mexico, South Korea, South Africa, and then the UEFA Path D, the other host nation, Canada, Switzerland, Qatar, and another UEFA Path A. And then obviously we just talked about the US being in a group with Australia, Paraguay, and UEFA Path C. Let's talk about the group of death, though. Are we all in agreement that the group of death is Group I with France, Senegal, Norway, and then the FIFA Path 2, Nigel?
I would have to say yes. That for me is the group of death. I think it's just going to be a real great group, interesting group in the sense of very competitive nations, very talented nations. And it's not going to be easy. A lot of those teams on their given day, if they turn up, are capable of beating one another.
We've got the poll in, and the YouTube viewers agree with us. Group I by 49%, and then Group L just behind that with 25%. Grell, who do you think wins the group of death, if you agree that that is the group of death?
You have to say France is probably level above, and it's up to them to do it. That FIFA Path 2, we're saying it's most likely going to be Iraq, I think, what the odds say. I don't know if there's a clear second. Senegal, Norway, Iraq can be a tough team to play against on their day, but probably between Senegal and Norway. So it's a difficult one. It does feel like there's no group of death a little bit to me. Like Group I looked like it was going to be a group of death and then kind of faded away. The same thing with Group L. Because you have Panama and Ghana at the end, I'm not so sure. So I don't know if there's a clear group of death.
Do you think that's because of the expanded format?
For sure. Yeah, you had more teams, and obviously quality a little bit is going to drop. If I'm a manager in this situation, I'm looking at some of these groups, and if I'm like maybe the manager of Argentina or even, I don't know, Brazil or whatever, and I'm saying to myself, how do I manage my guys now, right? I don't know if the question anymore is getting through the group. I mean, we keep saying it, but 8 third-place teams will go through, potentially with 2 or 3 points. So I think you need to look at this now and say, how do we arrive in the later stages of this tournament and be fresher, especially given the heat and the travel that happens in this type of tournament and after the long season that a lot of these players had. So that's what I would be my sort of thinking as a manager.
Without a doubt, you're right, especially now that there's an extra game in order to win the World Cup. But I think about, you mentioned Argentina. Argentina, the first game at the World Cup in 2018 was against Iceland. Debutants. Iceland. Mm-hmm. If Argentina chose to manage that game, they tied, by the way. They dropped points and put themselves in a very difficult spot to follow up. Then they lost handily to Croatia, and they had to wait for a dramatic comeback against Nigeria to get back into the knockout stage. I don't know how much you could be playing around, and it's 8 games, right?
But that's the old format as well, though, right? Correct. What you're talking to. So,
True.
So you can effectively win 1 game. You can effectively not win a game and still get through. You could draw 2. And maybe get through as well, depending on how the other things draw.
But you want to finish first to be ordered to play a third-place team. I'd rather finish first and play a team that barely scraped by.
No, I agree with you, but I think to what Grella's point is that you want to have your best and most impactful players fitter and available towards the end. So if you are in Argentina, and let's say you've got Algeria, your first game, you've got, okay, do I really need to push like this with Messi for 90 minutes? Do I need to do that? Do I use it as again, his season will just be starting then with the MLS, picking back up in March time, I believe. So maybe let's just get him through this. Can we rest him for this game?
I think it's a risk when you do that still, when it comes to tournament football. I think it's
always a risk.
It's a bigger risk, though, because there's smaller margins for error. It's not domestic league football where you can say, okay, a point's a good point later down the line. It's also that you want to set a certain mindset and presence and certain atmosphere or focus in the camp. Because these players are away from their family, depending on how the different nations do, if their families can be there, you want them focused and no task at hand.
Which
and it
way
really
do you
should be
fall on that?
winning. I feel you've got to go hard.
No, but for the families and because it's always an interesting talking point, isn't it? Like, do you have the home comforts of everybody if you're a team, or do you want to be isolated?
I think your families can be there. On your days off, you can go and see your families, but you want the players to be focused. You want the players to be united more so than anything else. Your family is your teammate. It's if I go down, are you going to pick me up? Or if I have to come off, are you going to come and do the job? That's the family environment you want to create between the players that are there. Your families are there, where it's a day off, you can go see your family, but this is the family that needs to be focused. This is the family that needs to be in tune with one another to say, this is what the focus and the goal is.
Crazy enough, I thought of an anecdote from the 1986 World Cup, which Argentina ends up winning, but I use it because it's an anecdote of the football culture that I grew up understanding. Bilardo, the manager of the 1986 team, said no family. Ruggeri, one of the captains, one of the main center backs of the Argentine national team, received a video from Argentina with his daughters, young daughters. VHS, received a tape. He was watching it in a room, was getting emotional. He had been without his family for weeks. Bilardo walks in and goes, "What are you watching this for?" Ejects the VHS. You watch that when you get back. Imagine how times have changed. But that, and you speak about how that needs to be your family. Forget it. Like, your family needs to be the 26 players that you go to the World Cup with.
100%.
Imagine that.
But we veered off into this to talk about like the atmosphere you want to set and how you want to manage the team. I'm not saying that you have to rest guys. I'm not saying that you say, okay, Messi doesn't have to play or whatever. You could chop and change however you want. There'll be 5 substitutions, right, in this tournament like there always is. Maybe you say, okay, we're going to play this way for the first half, really go after this team, get a lead 2-0, and we're going to make 5 changes at halftime. So 85 degrees, 90 degrees out. We're going to do 5 changes. Or maybe you won the first 2 games in the last game. You say, okay, these guys are going to play a half. These other guys are going to play another half. I mean, I think if it's something that you can get down to a little bit more of a science, especially if you're one of the bigger teams, I think it's something you could take advantage of. In the end, when Croatia lost, when they went deep into the tournament, it's because they went to 2 games back-to-back extra time. Right? When you have to play extra time in these tournaments, you're playing an extra 20 minutes or whatever, maybe extra 30 minutes, excuse me. And then you go into penalties. It's 90 degrees out. So as an older group in Croatia, they felt it. They lost that final because they were exhausted when they got to the end of it, and they played with almost the same 11 players. They didn't have a lot of options. So it's something I think that's important, especially in this format, something you can take advantage of.
All open-air stadiums, by the way. The two
true.
semifinals will be in closed stadiums.
Okay.
Just before we go to break, let's just quickly mention Group C again, because this is the fun group, the group of vibes, isn't it? And what about Haiti, though? Because we haven't really spoke about them in this group. It's Brazil, Morocco, Scotland. What a qualifying process it was for Haiti to get to this position, Nico.
I mean, it's wild to think that Haiti was even close to qualifying to the World Cup. The political turmoil happening in the country that hasn't allowed this national team to play at home for the last 5 years, trying to find their home away from home, be competitive, reach out to the diaspora of players that have left the country forcibly. The gangs have taken control of the streets. The president was assassinated, for God's sakes. Like, talk about unrest. And then all of the natural disasters, all of these trials and tribulations that the people of Haiti have had to get over, and yet their team still qualifies for the World Cup. I mean, speak about resilience and the possibility that they get a game in Miami. I hope they do, because we'll see the full Haitian carnival on display.
And this is what I like to say, because everything Nico said is fantastic there, and it's so well said and well put. And this is what I go to Troy about sometimes. You think about the mindset. Think about what these Haiti players are going to be like going into a World Cup. We talk about pressure. Look at the real life experiences of what they're going through and what their family members have had to go through, what they've had to deal to go through. And then now at their World Cup, that's not going to be pressure for them. That is going to be a nothing to lose. And that's why I always say sometimes you can't really think or, give no opportunity or chance for these smaller nations, because you don't know the journey of what these players have been through. And they don't look at Brazil as like, oh my God, it's Brazil. It's, we're happy to be here. No, they're going to want to go out there and play, and anything can happen.
The captain of the team in the huddle right before the last game to qualify to the World Cup told the players, everyone back home has at best $7. They would leave that at our feet for us to qualify to the World Cup.
Puts into perspective, doesn't it? I think for the neutral fan, everybody is cheering for Haiti to have some success in the World Cup. Just a reminder of all of the groups. We were just talking earlier about England, Croatia, Panama, Ghana. We'll talk about them in just a second. Brazil, Morocco, Scotland and Haiti. Then in Group H, you've got Spain, Uruguay, Saudi Arabia and Cape Verde. What about Group J, though, with Argentina, Austria, Algeria and Jordan? Speaking of teams that have kind of fallen into groups where they'll feel happy with the situation, like the US men's national team, as Nico said, Charlie Antonio Miola. The poll on YouTube is the easiest group. The viewer poll comes in at 36% with that Group J. Do you agree with that, Troy?
Yes.
So the Argentina
I
group?
probably would. I'm just having a quick glance everywhere else. Yeah, I think so. I think that's a fair assessment. I think when you look at the other teams and the other groups, you could probably make an argument. Again, I would probably say England had a good, easy group as well, but I know that'll set people off, so I don't want to do that today, Grella.
Be careful, Troy. Be very careful when it comes to talking about England.
If you're England, would you swap groups with Argentina? Maybe that's a better way to think about it.
No.
Yeah.
You would?
Complacency. Complacency would settle in sometimes. You've got to be careful with football players, because sometimes you go into it, you think, oh, it's going to be easy. Yeah, OK, on paper it looks easy, but it's a World Cup. If you're not ready to compete and do the basics, a manager and coach can only do so much. Once you cross that white line, as you all know, you got to do it. And sometimes you worry about complacency. Sometimes you want a bit of a challenge so these players can actually raise their game and not get
I understand what you're saying, but you would rather you would switch with Argentina, 100%. You'd rather play Austria,
I would,
Algeria,
as an
Jordan.
England fan.
Jordan's making their first appearance. They're plus 75,000 to win this thing.
75,000?
You put $100 on it, you make 75,000.
I understand what you said, but again, it's the arrogance of the players. It's where these players and these nations players have been. That's what I'm focusing on. And it's always been a problem with England, because they do well against the bigger nations, but smaller nations that English fans think, oh, we're going to walk through them, they struggle tremendously. So again, that's what you want. I think for Argentina, it's great. And I've got to give credit to Lionel Scaloni, because I talked to Nico quite a bit about it. And Scaloni, what he's done with the Argentine side is he's made all the players, take Messi out of it. No one's comfortable in that Argentine side. He has brought so many players through, so many young players have come and been tried out, so many people, and he sees about the attitude and togetherness. We've talked about Garnacho coming in, and Garnacho hasn't been back in still, and he's still at Chelsea. You'd think that, oh, he's at Chelsea.
You can see why, though, in that
Yes,
regard.
you could see why. But again, you've got to give credit to the manager, because he sees that. He doesn't want that kind of maybe character around what he's built. And one thing I admire about the Argentine side is, again, I've said it to Nico so many times, the togetherness. When you watch this Argentine side play, when one player goes down, they're like a pack of wolves, a pack of dogs. They come and back their teammate, they help them. They're really fighting together. And that is all because of what Scaloni's implemented.
Do you not feel that way about England?
I think England still have a way to go when it comes to that team togetherness. The Argentines, for me, are one of the nations I've seen that have it. I would say they have it the best, the togetherness. Forget the Messi.
Can I ask you a question, Nico,
togetherness
in regards to that? Obviously, I haven't been to Argentina, but it does feel to me that everyone understands their role and responsibility as what it means to play for the national team, because you are a reflection of home, of the people there. With England, I get frustrated sometimes because we put these players on a pedestal, and at times it's like us as fans, a part of England, we go, we're as good as our team. Whereas I think the team represents the fact that us in Argentina, we fight together, we are together, we're the underdog.
Yeah.
And out of that will come the greatness of us, whatever that may be.
I think that's how culture in Argentina transcends into football and vice versa, right? A lot of Argentines look at this national team and they look at that dogfight that they have in them, and you feel like you're represented by those players on the field. And you talk about the togetherness. I said it on Morning Footy, I'll say it here again. This team is a goon squad. Yeah. You want to go toe-for-toe tactically? We'll do it. You want to go toe-for-toe physically? We'll do it. You want to get into a scrap? They're down to scrap. And they'll defend their players and their brothers at all costs. Yeah. But the togetherness doesn't stop there. The media's on board, which in many countries it isn't. And the fans are on board. How much bickering have I heard, to use England as an example? Jude's got to be in the squad. Jude doesn't have to be in the squad. He doesn't play. He doesn't play.
That's going to be our biggest problem.
And there's a lot of clash and there's a lot of noise on the outside that might be mixed, positive and negative. And you have to deal with that if you're a national team. In Argentina, it's all go. We're all supporting this national team.
Are you going to mention the referees again?
I was just
as part of this all-go system?
No, I think it's a great point.
Whether you admire it or not, I think what Argentina has created is this culture of us against the world. And that is exactly how it is. When I watch their team play, it's us against the world. And they know that they've got big players, but they still support them. And as a team, they are together. And it's something that, you know, Troy, we say all the time when watching Premier League games, you watch some of these players line up. It's always the internationals who are hugging each other, embracing each other beforehand. The England players play together for England, but they don't really embrace each other. So that all plays a part when it comes to international football. And I admire them. I really admire them.
It's important to note that the best competition in the world is probably the UEFA Champions League. When you talk about the level, the quality of the teams and the players, and they spend every single day together, every single week together. So you would imagine that the organizations of the team, the way they want to play, in different molds, in different, is higher than what the World Cup is. But there's nothing that matches the World Cup in like when a team sense of pride when you put the shirt on, the national anthems, right? How all of us in the room have gotten emotional over a national anthem, or even sometimes not your national anthem, watching two other teams, like Haiti against Scotland, watching those sets of players, what it means to them to be on that pitch. So going back to my original point, it's, of course, quality wins and it's about the football, but it's about the group. More importantly, because the group is not together all the time, so you're not going to play the best level of football. You're not going to be the most organized you've ever been, right? There's going to be players that play in Real Madrid and Barcelona and Man City and Arsenal that are way more organized because they play together every single week, week in and week out. This is about the group. You need 15 to 20 guys that really want to play for each other, play for the country. They understand what it means. That's the most important thing. That's what Argentina has. A couple other countries have that as well. But that's more important than the football at times in this competition in particular.
Is this going to be a special one as well, Troy, with Leo Messi? Do you think this is going to be his last World Cup?
I think so. I think it'll be very difficult to see him 4 years from now being able... Because these guys, when they've been so good, it's not just about taking part. They want to be able to put the best version of themselves forward. I don't see a scenario where Lionel Messi's coming off the bench for Argentina in 4 years. I think they want to go out on their timings. I wouldn't be surprised, a little bit of like a take, if he does it just before the World Cup.
He announces it?
Yeah, because Ronaldo's already done it. It's like, OK, you have your moment, and then people will start talking about, oh, by the way, this is my last one as well. And own it and take all of the spotlight because he deserves it.
And not only that, for me,
what was that, mate?
It's strange that he's being so incredibly ambiguous about whether he's going to play or not at the World Cup. I think there is going to be some sort of announcement. Messi's got to go to the World Cup. Messi's fit. He looks good. He looks sharp.
It looks really good.
Can you see him do
good.
four more years?
No, I
That's
think
why I think this will be his last one.
Yeah.
But on his terms.
Okay, just a reminder then of all the groups that we have got in the 2026 FIFA World Cup so far. Group L has England, Croatia, Panama and Ghana. Troy, you were just talking, saying it's pretty favourable, you think, for England. What kind of state is England in right now, though? Do you feel confident that this finally could be the Three Lions year?
No, I don't feel confident in them winning the whole thing. I think they're confident in this. I think I'm confident in saying the expectation should be semi-finals. I think that's a fair assessment because we've done that in the last couple of major tournaments. I still think France, Spain, Argentina, I would argue, have got better teams than us. The argument is still going to be who's the number 10, who's the main person. Is it Cole Palmer, is it Jude Bellingham, is it Phil Foden?
Who is it for you?
For me, it's always going to be Jude, for me, because I think he gives you more. But, again, it's one of these things. Again, it's really interesting, right? We have this talk, we had Charlie on and saying that Mauricio Pochettino's come in and this is where we expect. So if we use off the same logic, England should win it, right? Because we've got Thomas Tuchel and he's a winner. He's used to winning and we've got the players. I just think our problem will always come up against not having that level of competition to compete with the likes of Spain, France and Argentina in the key moments. We had a moment where we played Italy. We should have beat Italy in the Euro final a few years back now. We should have beat them. We go 1-0 up and we go defensive. We go backwards. And I think with Thomas Tuchel, we should go on the front foot and be more front-footed.
But you think we'll see that with Tuchel, right?
I
More
think
than
so.
Gareth
I think he's
Southgate?
ruthless. I think he's ruthless and I think he wants to deliver. But again, if we're talking right now, am I going to put my house on England to win it now? I have no history of saying they can win it. But am I confident as an English fan to say that we'll go really deep in the competition? 100%.
The attitude back in England and the press is basically we have to win it. That's the reason why they brought Thomas Tuchel in there. If he doesn't win the World Cup, it's a failure. When you look at, like Troy says, we've shown great progression in other tournaments getting there. But now the criticism has always been we've not made it over that final hurdle. This is why Thomas Tuchel were brought in here to now get us over that final hurdle now, because I think talent-wise we're there. It's always the top teams that we do struggle against, the likes of the Spains when it comes to these teams. But it's been in-game decisions and it's been negativity. And on to add to that as well is the English press don't help themselves because there is an arrogance about themselves. Oh, we've got the best players, we've got this. And you look at the situation now with Jude Bellingham and that situation, who's going to play number 10, who's not. Half of the media wants him to play, half of the media don't want him to play. And Morgan Rogers is doing well. But what I like about Thomas Tuchel is this. This is my decision. He's standing firm. He's not mincing his words. He's showing us what he is. I think if you go into this tournament, as great as Jude is, and I like Jude a lot, I would not be surprised if Morgan Rogers continues the form that he's doing. He starts as England's number 10. And
So
you
don't think Thomas Tuchel's as influenced by the English media as maybe Gareth Southgate was?
Yes, Gareth Southgate was. And there's always been this conversation with the English media when you play for the big clubs and you get the big club bias, which has always been a part of it. And then, like we just had a discussion about Argentina, there isn't a togetherness like the Argentines have. So for me, I don't think Thomas Tuchel really cares, really and truly. He's been brought in there.
He knows what
he's got to do. He's got to do his job. He's going to make the tough decisions and doesn't care about how it feels.
If they don't win the World Cup, he's not there after this situation.
Yeah.
He knows that. That's why the contract length was determined. It's only if he wins it, then obviously they'll extend. I think your take on the media is an interesting one. I think if you look everywhere, it is all about being in Argentina. If Argentina underperform, pressure comes from the media, right? England historically have underperformed.
Yeah.
So there is always pressure because we think, English media, we've got the best league in the world in the Premier League. We've got loads of our players playing in this league. So 1 + 1 should equal we should have the best national team. Unfortunately, football and sport doesn't work like that. So I think the reason there is a split is because it's that. There's 50% of people that can go, right, we understand, we've been there, it's nuanced. Just because you've got the best players doesn't always necessarily mean you've got to win.
Do you think, Troy, though, that this is the best for... Because we've talked about England's golden generation for quite a while now, haven't we?
But tactically, we were behind.
This could be Harry Kane's last World Cup. You never know. And so if this team is better than what they were in the Qatar World Cup, is the expectation surely not higher with Thomas Tuchel, a player that likes to play attacking football?
The realistic approach is Is this team better than it was?
Do you think it is?
I don't know.
I feel we've got a bigger pool. I do. And when I look at the golden generation, for me, the golden generation was never together like this new generation of English players are. That's a guaranteed fact. You know, I had little experience of going in to the senior national side, and from leaving the 21s to go to the seniors, it was like night and day difference. The 21s, we were like this. The senior side, we saw certain things that for me were a lot different and not as together as the 21s. And Stevie Gerrard, part of the golden generation himself, recently came out and said some harsh words about the golden generation.
Even Beckham
prima donnas,
too, right?
and they actually came and told the truth of what people said and what people been in the England system have known. Because even from young, it's a north, east, south divide when you try to play for England schoolboys. So it's never really been, you're playing for England, let's all be together, we're one, we're fighting for the same cause. There's always been that divide. I think it's the most talented big pool of players we've got, where there is still a conversation of, will Phil Foden make the squad or will he not? He hasn't been performing as much. Thomas Tuchel's laid out to say, if you're not playing for your team, you're not going to get there. Miles Lewis-Skelly, will he make... Like, there's the talent is there. It's the mindset that needs to change. It's the in-game management that's caused us in past tournaments where we haven't got over that hurdle. Thomas Tuchel is something different that we've not had when it comes to that for England.
I understand the narrative. England has to win the World Cup.
That's it.
Simple,
If they
right?
don't, it's a failure.
My question is, how much does the desperation of past failures, because England hasn't won anything since 1966, Euro finals, World Cup semi-finals, Euro finals, and no trophy to vouch for this incredible quality that you have domestically. Every single England generation is the golden generation because there is quality from the goalkeeper to the center forward and with depth. So how much does that desperation play into a factor of pressure onto the national team in order to deliver?
It's huge. That fundamentally is it. Again, we could go back and forth with every nation. How much desperation is there for the Italians to get to the tournament? It's just as much. The pressure is just as much. Depends on who you're talking about. But every nation wants their team to be successful. We have been a level of success, which has been that we are always there, we're always competing. Can we get over the hump will always be the question.
Yeah.
It's very similar to what we were talking about with Arsenal recently. Yes, they're great, but they haven't won anything yet. So there's like a cynical part of me that is like, can I make an argument that we can win this? Absolutely. I could go through players, I could go through depth charts, I could do everything. Cynical part of me says, I have never seen us win in my lifetime.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, in the most difficult moment, right, against France, Argentina, even Brazil, some of these all those other teams have won. And they've won recently. So they have a different swag to them, right? England, on paper, it looks amazing. Great team, great manager, great everything, but they haven't won. They don't have that swag when it comes to that little last moment that we can't put on a football sheet, we can't put it on a stat sheet, we can't put it in a tactical board. They're missing that little thing in the biggest of moments. And when those other teams are there that have won it, Argentina 3 World Cups, Germany 4 World Cups, Italy 4 World Cups, Brazil 5 World Cups, Spain obviously play everyone off the pitch and have recently won. When you start to talk about England with those boys, then all of a sudden they become not as scary.
Well, I'll tell you, for me, I always say this, if you shut up and listen more, you learn a lot more. And when you look at Thomas Tuchel...
Have you tried it?
I'm not even finishing my thought. I'm not even finishing.
911, there's a body on set. There's a body on set.
It was really good, but I'm not even saying my point.
Go on. Finish your thought.
No, I mean, I look
beg
at Thomas
you.
Tuchel and I say, what's the message he's trying to say?
It has a pulse, guys. It has a pulse.
The biggest message that he's putting out there, like Grella said and Troy said, we've got players, on paper it looks great. It's the team dynamic. And he keeps on harping on so much about the team togetherness, even the players that are not playing, having good players and good individuals in the building around the place that when the starting lineup goes out there, that they're still supporting. That is the message he's put out a lot when it comes to this England side. It's about the team. And now we're seeing a lot more team performances, more so based than just the individual. And you are definitely going to get it one day.
so here is what the World Cup draw looks like. You've got some really interesting groups. The host nations find themselves in Group A, B and D with Mexico, Canada, the US. Group C, what a fun group. That's going to be Brazil, Morocco, Scotland and Haiti. Group F, you've got the Netherlands, Japan, Tunisia, and still a lot to be decided, obviously, with the remaining places that will be decided in March with the playoffs for UEFA. And then, obviously, through the FIFA paths as well. You've got England in Group L with Croatia, Panama and Ghana. Speaking of England, let's go over. Are you okay, Nigel? You're facing the wrong way. Yeah, are you still upset?
You've rattled it.
He is, I have. We're almost there. Hang in there, Nige. Hannah, how are you? You're over in DC.
Yes.
What's the last couple of hours been like?
Honestly, Poppy, it's been manic. I don't even know what I'm thinking right now because we just went up to the mix zone. I think Charlie got an interview with Pochettino. It's just chaos. Like, there's cameras everywhere, as you can see behind me. There's so many people trying to get the story, trying to meet the people who are inside the actual draw, the people who are part of the federations. We all watched the draw just inside this room behind us on a huge screen. And so yeah, when everyone comes out from who's inside the Kennedy Centre to get the story, to get the first kind of glimpse of what it was like, everyone's trying to be doing that. So it's been very busy, very chaotic, but a great day.
Hannah, what was the biggest moment for you at the draw?
I really enjoyed the whole Rio Ferdinand not knowing how the draw actually works and him trying to not mess it up. I really enjoyed, like, the school kids trying to teach him how it works, because I think it was really helpful as well, because it can get so complicated, especially when it's like, well, now we're not going to Group I, we're going to Group D, those sorts of things that he had to kind of work his way around. So I really enjoyed that, just like making fun of it. I loved the performances as well. So it was great. It was breathtaking, some of the performances, especially the first couple of ones. So no, it was an amazing experience.
You should have watched our show if you wanted to see some confusion. We were all over the place. And then at the end of it, Poppy ended Nigel.
It gets so confusing. So when we saw the school kids kind of take you through it and dumb it down, it was really good.
Hannah, who's the most famous person you got a picture with or anything or seen there today?
Oh gosh, I don't know, Nigel. I haven't even been able to take any photos because I've been so panicked of what's been going on and all the information. I haven't taken hardly any photos.
Hannah, could you tell us about that great story you
US...
told us about Just?
Pardon? Say that again?
Could you tell us that great story you told us about in the break?
You forgot to recognise someone you were speaking to.
Oh yeah, I may have met a US soccer really important person last night. And I went up to him and I said, I recognise you. And he's probably one of the most important people in US soccer at this moment. And he just looked at me like, what is this girl talking about? So that was a bit of a weird moment. But I did take a photo of him, Nigel. But yeah, it's been really good.
Are you
I should have
confident
told you that story.
If Poland get through, are you confident where they land that you can actually have an impact in this World Cup?
If Poland, did you say? Sorry, Troy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've got my sheet up here. If Poland get through, they've got Netherlands, Japan and Tunisia. So yeah, when that was drawn, I'm pretty confident. Obviously, they have to make it through the playoff spots first. But I think that's a good group to maybe get a top 2 spot. So I'm confident with that group. I like the sound of it so far.
So you're going to get us some free tickets through your brother Matty, or we're going to have to pay for our own tickets?
Nigel. Every time I see you, you're trying to ask for freebies, free golf clubs, free World Cup tickets. I mean, I'm not a miracle worker.
Hey, you should see what he does to the fridge every time he leaves after work. He takes everything out of the fridge.
Nigel, carry yourself off. You've done for the day now.
Hannah, I know your other allegiances to your birth country. Simple question. Is it coming home?
It could be coming home. Let me pull up my sheet, because I can't even remember who England have got, if I'm being honest. England, here we go. Croatia, Ghana, Panama. I like that group. Croatia's going to be a tough one, though, isn't it? But I like the fact of it coming home. I think this year could be the year that we finally could get it done.
Hannah, I really hope so. Fingers crossed. Good to see you. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, everybody. See you later.
See you later. Okay, predictions then, boys. Shall we go? Grell, who have you got?
I've got no friends in this.
What have I got? What? Winning it?
Winning. Let's do predictions.
Brazil.
To win and dark horse.
Brazil. Carlo Ancelotti, a very talented group. He doesn't have to do much organizing. Guys that want to play against with each other. I like Brazil to surprise everybody this tournament.
How funny, that's your dark horse, isn't it, Nigel? Grella's
Yes.
favourite is a dark horse for you.
Oh, that's not a bad pick. I go for France to win it and Brazil are my dark horse.
Grell, who's your dark horse, by the way, just to round out your picks?
Dark horse to win it? Italy.
What?
Italy. Sorry, they're saying that Brazil doesn't count as a dark horse either. I tried to tell him in the break, but he
Brazil
said no.
is a dark horse because if you look in recent
Dark
World
horse.
Cups, they have not been nowhere near the Brazil. that we've
Hold
seen.
on 1 second. Hold on 1 second.
We are all
Italy
over.
are odds favorite to get into the tournament with the group they have. They have Northern Ireland.
Yep.
Then they have to play Wales or Bosnia.
Okay.
They get into that group. Canada, Switzerland, Qatar.
Yeah.
They're getting out of that group, especially if 3 teams are getting out.
Yeah.
You don't want to play Italy in knockout stage football.
Yeah.
And by the way, here they are right here,
Hey.
plus 3,300. So they are a dark
Can I
horse.
tell you something?
And I like them.
I agree with you guys. 9 World Cups between your 2 dark horses over there.
Can I just say, Grella?
I said Brazil.
nine
Hold on.
World Cups.
I said Brazil to win it.
No, hang on.
No,
Grella.
I didn't say
It was
dark
his
horse.
dark horse was
Yeah.
Brazil. Your dark horse was Italy. Combine your 2 dark horses, you have 9 World Cups between the 2.
Plus 3,300 is a dark horse.
9 World. Forget about.
Hang on.
Forget about
That's like when Serena Williams plays first round of the U.S.
I
Open.
said to you, Grella, at the beginning of the show, I'll give you, if I gave you $1 million to Italy making it or not,
This is
you
what I was
said
about to bring up.
no.
Yeah, that's me from a
So-
personal.
No, don't try and change it now. Don't
So
try.
now
Trying to
you're
reverse
Have that
jinx
same
it.
energy.
Trying to reverse jinx it. But yeah, dark horse. If they do get through, I think they'd
Just
be in it.
stop now or losing. Troy, go on, have a go, mate.
Who do you have?
It's done. I'm done.
France.
He stepped out.
I'm gonna go. I think Spain are favourites. Dark horse to win it. Let's go.
Pick a legit dark horse too.
Yeah, let's just have some fun with it.
England.
I'm gonna bet you now because of that comment, $1,000 for charity, that Italy don't get to this point.
They don't get to the
Can
tournament.
you just pick a dark horse and leave Italy out of this?
I'm
He's
gonna go
never gonna pay
Morocco.
you, by the way.
Morocco.
Morocco. Nice.
All right. Okay, nice. Morocco, the dark horse. Nico, what about you?
For me, Argentina to win it, and if I had to pick a dark horse, I would have to pick a team that has never won the World Cup before. To be the dark horse. Dark horse doesn't necessarily mean you win the tournament, right?
Yeah, it means...
Dark horse, a nice
yeah.
little cheeky run to mix things
I'm
up.
happy with Morocco.
Jesus Christ.
Ecuador.
Thank you. Good one. That's
Well
a good one. I
done.
like that one.
I'm going to go for England to win. I can't not because I'm going with my heart again. And for a dark
Dark horse,
horse...
Germany.
No, I'm actually going to go with Spain for my dark horse. Is that allowed? No, I really don't know for the dark horse. I think I'm with you with Morocco. I'd love to see Scotland, so I'm going to say them. I'm going to bet with my heart and say England to win it, Scotland as a dark
What about
horse.
the U.S.? Could be a dark horse.
It's true.
Yeah,
Okay,
be careful, don't take that passport off you.
they can't now, but they could take your green card. Okay, Group A, B, and D have got the host nations. If we're going to predict who's going to get the furthest of the host nations, who are we going to go with?
USA.
The U.S., yeah, the U.S. for sure. I think they got a really good draw. Mexico's had their own struggles. Canada, good with the ball, pressing the ball, going quick, but defensively, not so sure.
The U.S.
Have the most.
needs to win that first game against Paraguay. It's not going to be the Paraguay team that they played in the friendly. It's going to be a much more dogged, warrior-like Paraguay that will scrap to the last bit.
With a huge support as well. There's
Massive.
going to be a massive Paraguay support base there.
And just UEFA Path C is Turkey. So out of the gates, I'm not negotiating anything. It's got to be a victory for the United States if the World Cup is going to go right against Paraguay in Matchday 1.
I'm going to go out of limb. I'm going to go with Group A. I'm going to go with Mexico to go the furthest then.
Mexico?
Yep.
Okay, nice. All right, 188 days to go until the World Cup kicks off on home soil. Just a reminder, call it what you want. It's coming up on the Golazo network for you after this short break. You could also watch it on the Golazo America YouTube channel as well with Jimmy Conrad, Charlie Davies, who's in Washington, D.C. And how about that Tony Meola picture? I love seeing Tony's pictures. 3-time World Cup contender with the US. And just a reminder as well, Golazo Matchday is coming up with all the reaction on Saturday, 12 o'clock Eastern on the Golazo Network and on our YouTube channel as well. We'll see you then, everybody. Goodbye for now.